Welcome in to Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope everybody had fantastic Thanksgivings wherever across the country or around the world you are. Got to say off the top, I spent 10 hours in my car yesterday driving back from the beach to Nashville. And next step for me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is I got to move from owning a beach place to making enough money so that I can fly private and not have to sit in traffic for 10 hours like all the other losers I saw driving everywhere. That was absolutely brutal to try and keep up with and be on top of yesterday. And if any of you were traveling, I think it was the busiest travel day of the year and the busiest Thanksgiving ever. So this is just absolutely wild. I am a content factory today. I have got more opinions than probably we're going to be able to splice up. There might be 15 different videos we make money off of in today's show. But let me tell you right off the top, college football playoff picture is not complicated. There are always a lot of people who try to make the college football playoff picture seem complicated. I try to simplify everything for you. Here it is. LSU in. Ohio State in. Clemson in with a win over Virginia. They are a 29-point favorite. That leaves really one spot. The final spot is going to be taken by Georgia. If they upset LSU, LSU would still be in. On top of that, Baylor and Oklahoma and Utah maybe is going to be the hard decision. If LSU wins out, that will be the big challenge that the committee will face. Whether to take Baylor, Oklahoma, the winner of the Big 12 Conference at 12-1, or Utah at 12-1. I tend to think that Utah is going to be the favorite and it's going to be difficult to keep them out, but we'll have to wait and see what actually happens in the games themselves. There's not a lot of difference between the Utah and the Oklahoma or Baylor resumes, and as a result, I believe the committee is going to favor the Pac-12 champ over the Big 12 champ, but it's going to be tight in the event it arises, and only arises if LSU beats Georgia in Atlanta on Saturday. I will be down in Atlanta. Can't wait to watch this game. All right, big decision. Big decision the committee may also have: if LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson all win, who's your number one seed? I think the answer is pretty straightforward. It's LSU. LSU, if they beat Georgia, will have a much stronger overall resume than Ohio State will. LSU will have beaten Alabama, they will have beaten Auburn, they will have beaten Florida, and they will have beaten Georgia, all of whom will finish in the committee's top 12 or 13. Ohio State's top wins are Wisconsin twice, so it's not going to be that impactful to beat Wisconsin again, Michigan, and their other top win is Penn State. Penn State will probably be the highest ranked of those teams, but in the grand scheme of things, those three games, even if you count Wisconsin twice, don't compare to the top of the line for LSU in the SEC. Not to mention that LSU will be beating a top 4 team in the final week of the season in the conference title games. If you want to go beyond the top 5, Ohio State can argue Cincinnati. But the problem with arguing Cincinnati is they're going to fall outside of the top 25. And which team would you rather play? Cincinnati at home or Texas on the road? That is the 5th best win that LSU probably has, probably Texas. And in the grand scheme of things, Texas A&M may be better than Texas. So if you really break it down here, LSU, I believe, if they win out, would be the overall number 1 seed. They would pass back by Ohio State. Why does this matter? So far, seeding hasn't mattered in a big way in the college football playoff. It could matter in a big way this year, because if LSU finishes undefeated, they would get to play against either Baylor, Oklahoma, or Utah in Atlanta, which is a much easier matchup than Ohio State having to play against Clemson in Arizona. So being number 1 could matter a lot this year in terms of your likelihood of advancing to the title game, and that Clemson-Ohio State game would be a hell of a battle. All right, so that is the college football playoff picture. 3 SEC jobs now open. Ole Miss, the latest to open, and it opened because of the dumbest play I have ever seen on the football field in terms of a celebration. If you missed it, it is Ole Miss pissing away the game. The Egg Bowl ended in an unbelievable fashion. Ole Miss scores with 4 seconds left what should be the tying touchdown. They'll have a chip shot extra point to go to overtime. Instead, Elijah Moore, their wide receiver, pretends to pee like DK Metcalf did back in the day 2 years ago in Starkville, gets flagged, 35-yard extra point is missed. So Ole Miss literally pissed away the job of their head coach as well as this game. I think Matt Luke would have kept his job if Ole Miss wins this game. Perhaps if they go for 2 and they don't have the P incident there. I also believe that it's possible Joe Moorhead would have been out at Mississippi State if State did not win that game, but instead Mississippi State wins. They get bowl eligible at 6-6. Matt Luke and Ole Miss fall to 4-8 or 4-8, and everything falls apart. As a result, there are now 3 jobs open. And I'm curious for you guys watching me on Facebook and you guys watching me on Periscope, how would you rate? Which job would you most prefer to have? Missouri, Ole Miss, or would you rather have the Arkansas job? Because all of these jobs are open right now. You guys can vote and give me your opinion. I asked this question on Twitter, and I was intrigued by the responses. Give me your responses right here. Missouri, Arkansas, or Ole Miss. Which one would you go with? Lots of responses rolling through. We had this poll question up, and they said 3 jobs are now open. Which is the best? Over 60,000 of you voted. And Ole Miss ran away with this thing. I was actually surprised because I thought there would be a lot of even-handedness in terms of who people would vote for. Ole Miss got 53% of the vote. Missouri got 26% of the vote. And Arkansas got 21% of the vote. Now, I don't think in particular that my audience skews any way uniquely here. Like, I don't think I'm wildly more popular in Mississippi than I am in Arkansas or Missouri. So I think the population as a whole, when you get 60,000 people voting, I think this is interesting. I actually think Missouri is the better job here because the SEC East top 4 is weaker than the SEC West top 4. And I would say the top 4 teams in the SEC West are Alabama, Auburn, LSU, and Texas A&M. In the top 4 in the East, I would say it's Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and South Carolina. I think South Carolina is the weakest of those 8. I think it's easier for Missouri to get into the top 4 in the East than it is for either Arkansas or Ole Miss to get into the top 4 in the SEC West. So my inclination here would be Missouri is the better job. It's also a bigger state, more fertile recruiting market. You're the only Power 5 job in your state. Same thing can be true for Arkansas. Same thing is not true for Mississippi, where lots of other schools come in and raid for the best players. So this is going to be interesting to follow and see who ends up getting those jobs. I actually think it was really aggressive for Missouri to fire Barry Odom, who is 25-25 so far at Missouri. I actually think he's done a pretty good job. Kelly Bryant got injured and things kind of fell apart for his offense this year. But I am intrigued to see what happens with these 3 jobs. All right, my Titans got a massive win on the road against the Colts. Coming into this game, Titans were 3-19 in the last 22 against the Colts. I have watched all of these games. I have been totally broken by them. And so to me, I was driving in my car, listening on the radio with my kids in the background, and when the Titans blocked the field goal and returned it for a touchdown, that was absolutely phenomenal. I was ecstatic to finally beat the Colts. Now, here is the big question for the Titans. Can they handle a little bit of prosperity? They're going on the road as 3-point favorites against the Raiders. They need to win that game, get to 8-5, and then 2 of the final 3 are against the Texans to decide who actually wins this division. Ryan Tannehill is playing great. Titans are 5-1 with him. Offense has gone to another level. I never foresaw that occurring, okay? So the Titans sitting at 7-5, going on the road against the Raiders, chance to get to 8-5, and have a first-place game in Nashville against the Texans. For the Colts, the Titans were 0-11 against Andrew Luck. They are now 3-1 against Jacoby Brissett. So the question that I think that is out there that has to be asked for Colt fans is Jacoby Brissett your quarterback of the future? One team in the division does not mean everything. But 4 times Jacoby Brissett has taken the field for the Colts against the Titans, and he's lost 3 of them. And as a result, I think that Jacoby Brissett is probably not the answer long term for the Colts at quarterback. So maybe Tua's out there. Maybe you got an opportunity with the uncertainty surrounding Oregon and what's going to happen with their quarterback, where he might fall to. I think there is a chance, as you break down the quarterback market, that the Colts could be in the quarterback market. Now, it's also possible Andrew Luck is going to come back. I don't know exactly what might happen there, but keep in mind that Tua, with an injury situation, could be in the mix for a lot of different teams. But I'm not sold on the idea of Jacoby Brissett long-term for the Colts based on what I have seen so far, just head-to-head against the Titans. Andrew Luck couldn't lose to the Titans. Jacoby Brissett, by and large, can't beat the Titans. Big win there. Two big NFL games out there. I got to give props to Lamar Jackson for getting the win over the 49ers. I also believe the 49ers acquitted themselves well, traveling all the way across the country and playing in an early kickoff. Here's the challenge for the 49ers, though. If the Seahawks win tonight, in the space of 24 hours, the 49ers will have gone from the 1 seed to the 5 seed in the NFC. That's precipitous. It's an incredible fall. It's also a sign of why the wild card system set up as it is makes no sense, but that is the system that we have in place right now. I also got to give props to Lamar Jackson on this. I have questioned his long-range future, but I love that he is wearing and repping the work harder, nobody cares, work harder t-shirts. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. It is everything that we represent in the DBAP lifestyle. Nobody cares, work harder. In this era of curl up in the fetal position and whine, I love a tough-minded athlete like Lamar Jackson showing up every single day in a shirt for the media that says nobody cares, work harder. It is absolutely phenomenal. I need to send Lamar Jackson a DBAP shirt because he is living the DBAP lifestyle. All these other prima donna quarterbacks are always whining. The Baker Mayfields of the world. People are being mean to us. People are not being nice. Freddie Kitchens is wearing his t-shirt that says they started it, and then Baker Mayfield's wife gets mad because Freddie Kitchens get asked about it. There's all this whining going on. I gotta give props to Lamar Jackson for straight up saying, nobody cares, work harder. I swear to God, think about how much better social media would be if everybody embraced the mantra of nobody cares, work harder. All people do on social media all day long is whine, cry, complain. Oh, their feelings are hurt. Oh, people aren't being nice enough to me. Oh, I'm not getting enough respect. Oh, I'm not getting enough love. Boom. Nobody cares. Work harder. I love it. And you know what? This is a credit to Lamar Jackson's mom, who beat her son into toughness. You ever read those articles about how much she made her son work in order to be tough? She made him mentally tough. She made him physically tough. And he's now taking it to the next level. I got to give props to him for the performance that he has. All right? The performance that he has in the grand scheme of things is off the charts. I am impressed by it. Okay? We got incredible performance out of Lamar, who's the MVP leader right now. But also, everybody wants to bury the New England Patriots. And I have been guilty of this before. I have been guilty of burying the New England Patriots when they have a bad game. In fact, I was guilty of it last year. Last year, the Patriots lost to the Lions, to the Titans, to the Dolphins, and to the Steelers. They lost every single game that they played on the road. And people like me came out and said the Patriot dynasty is over. There's no way they're going to be able to continue. And do you know what happens? Every year, the Patriots, once the postseason gets here, flip a switch and go and win the Super Bowl or advance far into the playoffs and lose in the AFC Championship game. So I am not going to be the guy out there who is saying the dynasty is over, the Patriots are finished. I do, however, think they could use another passing game threat. I would be contemplating signing Antonio Brown if I were the New England Patriots. Big win for the Texans. to get to 8-4. But again, last year, everybody wanted to define themselves by beating the Patriots. And the truth of the matter is this: the Patriots in the regular season are not the Patriots team that you're going to see in the postseason. All right? So I think even though it might sound a little bit crazy, there's value right now if they were to go into the free agency market and roll the dice with Antonio Brown at this point in time. All right, my SEC power rankings. But before I do the SEC power rankings, I want to give props to Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt's Tennessee team finishes out the season 7-5. I don't know if there's a single person watching or listening to this video right now that when Tennessee was 1-4 would have believed that Tennessee was going to finish 6-1, that the Vols were going to win 5 SEC games, tied for the most in 12 years that they've won in conference. This is an incredible turnaround. After losing to Georgia State and losing to BYU, it would have been easy to write the season off. It would have been easy to curl up in the fetal position and for the Tennessee Volunteer program to pull in Arkansas and go skidding off the side of the SEC freeway. Instead, Bobby Petrino style, maybe with a girl on the bike with him. Instead, Tennessee found a way to get to 7-5. Good shot that they will be in Florida. If not, maybe because they want to be in the Music City Bowl for recruiting purposes, they want to be in Nashville. I think they're going to have a say in where they get to go. Good shot to get to 8-5. This was an incredible turnaround. Jeremy Pruitt in year 2, it is driving people crazy that he wasn't an abject failure, including my good buddy Joel Klatt, who has been obsessed with Rutgers hiring Greg Schiano. Now, let me just say this about Greg Schiano. The guy is a mediocre coach, okay? Greg Schiano went 28-48 at Rutgers in the Big East. Many of those wins were against awful teams when the Big East was atrocious. In fact, one of you compiled this number here, and I thought it was pretty outstanding because I want to hit it with you. Good numbers here. Here's who Greg Schiano beat at Rutgers. All right, are you ready? Buffalo 4 times, Navy 6 times, Army 7 times, Temple, Howard, Norfolk State, and FIU all twice. Kent State, Nova, Villanova, Ball State, Morgan State all once. That's not even counting wins over UConn, Syracuse, Pitt, or South Florida. This is a joke that he is considered to be a really good coach. All right, 28-48 in the Big East. We're not talking about the Big Ten. We're talking about the Big East. All right. And there's this cottage industry of people in the national media who want to keep their connections, and Greg Schiano must be an inveterate phone call returner and an incredible text responder because there are so many people ball washing for Greg Schiano. The truth of the matter is this: there is one program in America that would hire Greg Schiano to be their coach, and that is Rutgers. So people are fired up that Tennessee is having success with Jeremy Pruitt, and that Ohio State got infinitely better without Greg Schiano as their defensive coordinator. They fired him, and Ryan Day did, and they got a lot better. And this dude is going to fail epically at Rutgers because he was a bad choice. And for people out there who say, why do you think it was a bad choice? Because he was Jimmy Haslam's preferred choice. And if you wonder how Jimmy Haslam has done making football coach choices, look at what has happened with the Browns, which is the franchise that Jimmy Haslam runs. The University of Tennessee was in danger of becoming the college version of the Browns if Jimmy Haslam had been able to pick another head coach there. Hugh Jackson, disaster. Freddie Kitchens trending towards a disaster. Greg Schiano would have been a disaster too. And people get mad and say, what about, I didn't make up any false allegations. Greg Schiano, under oath, in a deposition, it was reported, witnessed Jerry Sandusky raping a little boy and talked about it, but didn't talk to authorities. Now, he denies that, but why in the world would you take a crappy coach with a potential connection to the worst scandal in college football history? It's just nonsensical. So Rutgers can take that risk if they want to. Rutgers is a crap program with a crap history, and the Big Ten has to be questioning why in the world they ever added them to the conference. But the University of Tennessee is a top 10 all-time winning program with one of the greatest fan bases in the entire country. It's a ludicrous proposition to argue that they should have ever been in the position of hiring Greg Schiano in the first place. And credit to Tennessee fans for standing up and making sure that their program didn't make a disastrous hire. All right, SEC Power Rankings. These are the final power rankings of the college football season, and they are as follows. Right now, I have got number 1, LSU, number 2, Georgia, number 3, Alabama, number 4, Florida, number 5, Auburn, number 6, Texas A&M, number 7, Tennessee, number 8, Mississippi State, number 9, Kentucky, 10, Mizzou, 11, Ole Miss, 12, South Carolina, 13, Vanderbilt, and 14, Arkansas. That is my SEC power rankings now that the SEC season is pretty much over, although I'll be down in Atlanta, and I'm excited to watch LSU play against Georgia in what should be an outstanding game. A couple of other thoughts. My national top 10. My national top 10 in college football: 1, LSU, 2, Ohio State, 3, Clemson, 4, Georgia, 5, Utah, 6, Oklahoma, 7, Baylor, 8, Alabama, 9, Florida, and 10, Auburn. Couple of other thoughts. Chris Peterson has stepped down at Washington. Bombshell there. They are promoting from within, but Chris Peterson reportedly just tired, needs time to recharge. This, of course, will make him the biggest head coaching candidate in the country come next year, which makes me wonder if USC might keep Clay Helton for another year and then go back to the drawing board and get Chris Peterson. Now, if USC makes the decision to fire Clay Helton, and no decision has been made so far, if they make the decision to fire Clay Helton, I think it will be because James Franklin or Urban Meyer said they would take the job. But right now, Clay Helton still sitting in uncertainty. There was a story yesterday. You got to be careful of all the rumors that fly across the internet and the Twitter sphere. There's people trying to fake out everybody. And so you got to be careful of all this stuff. Make sure that it's official accounts that people you can actually trust are tweeting these details. Finally, Gardner Minshew has been named to replace Nick Foles. This was a big debate down in Jacksonville. Minshew mania took over. Jacksonville brought back Nick Foles. They started him for 3 games. They were awful against the Colts, awful against the Titans, and awful against the Bucs. 3 games Nick Foles got to keep his job. He has now been benched, and it looks like Jacksonville has spent a huge amount of money yet again for a quarterback that is not going to be their guy. Gardner Minshew, as the 6th round draft pick, is now the future of the franchise from perspective of Jacksonville. All right. I love all of you. New life motto alongside this one, DBAP, is nobody cares, work harder. Ain't nobody working harder than your boy in sports media, Clay Travis. I appreciate all of you. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. Kisses. I'll see you guys on Lock It In 30 minutes. And then I'll be live tomorrow morning on the radio and on this show again. I'll see you guys. I'm out. Love you. Thank you, Facebook. See y'all.